So there's a lot of different ways for artists to make a living. And I think that's just the thing. I was always determined to make a living. And when I was going to school, my father, although they were very encouraging, always said, you're going to need to have something to fall back on. And I always thought, no, I won't. But teaching is fabulous. I've been really lucky. I teach at Columbia College downtown.
And don't you find that being a teacher, you learn things you didn't know that you knew?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I was very intuitive about my color sense, and it wasn't until I really had to teach it that I really, really learned it. It just takes that long sometimes.
And color sense, what does that mean?
Well, it is certainly about how to put colors together and how to use colors. It would be the difference between standing in front of your easel and just mixing the colors and using them, or standing in front of your easel, mixing, painting, redoing, wiping off, stomping your feet, saying, oh, I can't get the color I want. You know, I've always been able to kind of feel it. I think I have, I don't know, some kind of sensibility about that. When I teach, if my students don't innately have that sensibility, I can give them the tools so that they can use color theory. And we know that Van Gogh used color theory because he has a little color wheel drawn in his sketchbook.
And is that the tool you give your students, is the color wheel?
Not that simple, no. I teach them about the electromagnetic spectrum and color and light and how the rainbow works and how that color wheel is put together, so it's much more complex than that.
And do you see a change once they understand?
Yeah, because I'll get students who come in and they are only thinking about objects in terms of local color. So again, it's that the sky is blue and the trees are green. And it's like they are going on a trip of some sort. All of a sudden they start thinking about color and seeing color differently.
And when artists get together, what do they talk about?
Oh, well, I just got back from Ireland with a group, and we were pretty happy because when I go out to dinner with my family, I can't get the whole table talking about art. But when we go out with artists, it's great. So what do we talk about? You know, other artists, art history, what's going on currently, what happened in the studio today, an artist we admire, a teacher we admire. It's just really great. It's really fun.
Well, I'm dying to get into some of your sketchbooks.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Where would you like to start? You've mentioned Ireland. I think you said this sketches.
Yeah, we've got some from Ireland.
Is it okay if I?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We've got some from Italy. We've got some from.
Well, how's this? I'll hold it up. Can you get this, Marie? Okay. And you want to say a few words about this one?
Yeah, this is I take my students to Connemara, which is a really rugged area of Ireland, and the landscape is just beautiful. So we're sitting by a ruined castle, and as my students were doing their paintings, I did a quick little sketch.
And how long would it take you to do a sketch like this?
Probably about 20 minutes.
Yeah, and about 35 years of experience.
Oh, there's a wonderful antidote about that. So Matisse does these really simple curvilinear line drawings, and they appear to be really simple. And so somebody said, well, how long did that take you to do? And he said, 45 years. Yeah, 45 years.
Okay. I have no idea.
Where did you end up?
I have no idea what I'm looking at, but
well, it's actually clouds, and you're going the wrong way. But
oh,
that's
I
okay.
see.
Yeah.
This way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's just a really quick study of clouds over probably one of the bays in Ireland. It would rain a lot, so you had to get used to painting clouds.
Now, do you meditate?
Well, that's a really interesting question, and let me answer that for you.
Okay.
Because when I teach drawing on the right side of the brain, it's about reaching that meditative state where you turn off your left brain. And that's what you need to do when you're painting or drawing. I can't be there all the time. I kind of come in and out. I've never been able to meditate because I can't turn it off totally. I need to paint to do it. So it's interesting.
Well, you don't necessarily have to be cross-legged to do meditation.
Good. Yeah, good.
Yeah, there's all sorts of forms of meditation.
Yeah.
I even took a some classes on trance dancing where you would dance into a state of meditation.
Sure. I bike into a state of meditation. I paint my way in there.
Actually, meditation is defined as a state of extreme focus and concentration.
Perfect.
And it's also defined as a state of emptiness, so the mind is empty. So
right. And another really wonderful antidote about painting is, so when we paint, we think about other artists. You asked me who I liked, so you know Vuillard's running around up there, and maybe a little bit of Van Gogh. So it is said that your best painting is done when all of those influences leave the room, but then your best painting is done when you leave the room. But that's the hard place to get to.
Yeah. Now, near my office in Chicago, there's a studio, and it's, you know, I'll see like 6 or 7 people in front of their easel, and it's usually, like, I assume young women in their 20s or 30s. Do you find more women are attracted to being artists than men?
Well, that's interesting.
And
in my classes, I do have more women. I do. Which is odd, because if you look at art history, it's really the men and then just a couple of women.
But is that changing now? Are women having more influence in art?
No, yes, a little bit. It has changed. I have tried to ignore it. A few things have happened in my past where people had said, like, I had a big show at a community college, and one of the professors walked in and said, "Oh, I thought a man did those." In other words, you know, would a woman do something this aggressive and strong? If other things have happened, I haven't noticed. You know, but typically it is harder. It has been harder for women if you just look at art history. I'm just ignoring all that.
Well, throughout history, women have had a more difficult and challenging time.
Exactly. So, are we taken a little less seriously? If I was a man, would my career be further along? We'll never know. You know, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I see a great future for you.
Well, thank you.
And now, you mentioned drawing on the right side of the brain a few times. What originally sparked your interest in drawing on the right side of the brain?
Well, I've become really interested in neurology and how our brains work and how we see. But also, as a teacher, I wanted to find a way to help people see. And drawing on the right side of the brain is a way of going through some exercises that help you turn off your left brain
now,
so you can see.
Isn't there a book by that title?
There is, yeah. It's a wonderful book, Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. And my apologies to the author because I'm forgetting her name right now. So it is based in that. But since I've read that book, I've also read, you know, Oliver Sacks, The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat, and how our brains work and how we see. And I'm putting it together. It's actually called Visual Intelligence. And I'm just getting a little dangerous with all that information at this point.
You said you're writing a book, Visual Intelligence?
No, there is a fabulous book out there called Visual Intelligence.
Oh, there's a book, Emotional Intelligence and Social Intelligence.
Yeah, right. This is visual. And so it's about how we see neurologically. It gets really complex. It's absolutely wonderful. But so drawing on the right side of the brain is understanding how we think, and that we're not drawing with our eyes, we're drawing with our brains. Just like we don't see with our eyes, it's really our brains. And so if you can learn how your brain works, then you can push it around because it wants to push you around.
Right. There's actually a book called Mean Genes, how our genes make us do things that are self-destructive, like overeat and smoke, and spend too much, etc.
And make all the trees green.
Yeah. Well, and I would think that by using the drawing on the right side of the brain, a person can keep their brain plasticity and stay young and healthy.
Yeah, I mean, there's exercises that we do where you actually will get a headache because you feel yourself flipping. It's hard. It's really hard.
Is there an exercise that we can do now?
Not if we're not drawing.
Oh, okay.
But I can explain it to you. Can you picture yourself drawing the easel in the painting without drawing the easel in the painting? How would you do that?
You know, I'm probably the wrong person. I took an aptitude test once, and I got like the lowest percentile for spatial visualization. So I'm a very abstract thinker. I can't
Interesting.
even draw a straight line. That's
Okay.
why I love art so much, because I'm so lousy
Okay,
at it.
okay. And I was in honors English and remedial math, so there you go. Well, what you would do is you have to draw the negative spaces around it. You have to draw this space here. You have to picture an edge here and draw around this, and so what would be left over would be the positive space.
See, and I...
You can't make that leap.
I can't even, I never even heard of negative space before,
Yeah.
let alone
You thought I
to
was
try.
just making fun of it.
Yeah.
Right.
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 Now, are the skills from drawing on the right side transferable from art to other aspects of life?
Sure. I would say so, because it teaches you to recognize when you are really seeing things or when you're clicking into, I call it clicking into automatic. Because the way that we sort of live is how we've learned to live. Mm-hmm. So our first response is what we take for granted, and it may not always be what's really happening. We're sort of hardwired to get through life by going with what we know. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's better ways of explaining this, but thinking on the right side of the brain makes you problem solve in a way that might diverge from what you know. That's how scientific discoveries happen. That's how medical mysteries get solved.
Or self-awareness, self-development.
Or self-awareness and self-development. Right.
Yeah. And I would call drawing on the right side of the brain, when it's done at its best, a peak experience.
Can be.
Yeah.
It can be. Yeah, and also to give somebody confidence, somebody who might say, as you just did to me, no aptitude, can't draw.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be cool if you could leave my class going, wow, I drew something. And not only that, but I know how to see something, so I could draw it again, even when there's not a teacher, you know, guiding me.
Well, I'd be the toughest student you ever had.
I doubt it.
Well, I'd be difficult in a sense. I have a disability, so it'd be difficult in that sense.
Okay.
But we got about a minute left.
Okay.
What do you want to say? You want to say something about your class or anything about what's coming up for you? Anything?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm really looking forward to teaching at the Infinity Center. I teach all year. I've got a website where people can look at my work.
YouTube, they can see your instructional video.
They can see the instructional video on YouTube, but better is to buy the Prismacolor pencils and they'll get the DVD. Mm-hmm. That's in there. I just opened a show in Tacoma, Washington. I have a one-person show there. I've got a show coming up.
How many paintings do you show at a show?
Well, in that show there were 12. Some will be 20.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a show coming up in Southern Illinois. I'm part of the Illinois Artisan Program.
All right, I've got to
And we got to go. Okay.
All right. For more information about Nina Weiss, Infinity Foundation, or InnerQuest Talk Show, stay tuned to the credits at the end. Until next time, wish you good health, good spirits, and good fortune. Nina, what a pleasure.
Thank you so much. That was great.
For more information about this show, our guests, Infinity Foundation, or any of our other programs, please visit our website, infinityfoundation.org, or call us at 847-831-8828.